And now I'm going to share my screen. I do hope that you have paper and pencil so that you can follow along as I give information, because I will be giving quite a bit of information on today. And I followed some of the requests you all have made um, based off of our previous meetings. I've tried to listen to what you've all requested, and I want to introduce you all to our special guest today. So I'm going to talk for a little bit, and then we're going to have a special presentation from one of our special support staff members, Mrs. Amy Brown. If you could wave. So Mrs. Brown is our teacher clarity specialist. If you all didn't know, we follow teacher clarity as one of our strategies here in the building, and it's by Corwin, Corwin is the publishing company, and they've produced this strategy to allow teachers to create lessons in student-friendly language and for students to understand the what, how, and why they are learning certain subject matter. So she'll talk a little bit about that because that's her lane, that's her specialty. She does that all day, every day. She's just training us. So welcome to our second Parkmore parent check-in. To get started, I want to begin with our focus for today. I did that for Mrs. Brown. I thought she would be happy with me putting our learning intentions there. So for today's meeting, this meeting will be recorded. You will be able to access this meeting on YouTube at Ms. Campbell and Friends. And we're going to discuss what is student support, class schedule and group changes, some typing programs to support your students, and writing support. And so you all voice that concern of too much screen time. How can we do more writing at home with our students? And so we think we have an answer for you. It might not be the sure fit answer, but we know it's an answer that will work. So be prepared to take some notes. So this whole notion of student support, what is student support? Student support is helpful for parents to support their children at home. But we want to be careful with how much support we are providing our children, because teachers have noticed there's a great deal of support provided to our students. This is very positive and it is much appreciated. However, we are hearing parents give answers to students, and that is not positive support. In fact, that could stifle your child's learning. Or if you're sitting there with your child and they are hesitant to give a response because they're worried about if they get it wrong, mom or dad or whomever they live with might be a little bit upset. That can hinder their and stifle their learning progression as well. We know it's tempting. You know, it's your baby. You want them to get it right, and you're here to support. But remember, if your child was at school, you wouldn't be able to give them a response. No one would be able to give the answers. And remember, it's okay if your child struggles a little. And this is called productive struggle. So I want to talk to you all a little bit about productive struggle. Feel free to take notes. I found two really good definitions for productive struggle. One is developing strong habits of mind, such as perseverance, thinking flexibly instead of simply seeking the correct solution, because you might not always have the correct solution. You know, even as a principal or as a teacher, we don't know all the answers. We have to do research. We have to practice over and over again. And productive struggling is not knowing how to solve a problem at the outset. Should be expected, especially if it's new knowledge. You're going to struggle until you master that particular subject area. The next definition is productive struggle is the process of effortful learning that develops grit and creative problem solving. When students face problems, they don't immediately know how to solve, like on new assessments. We don't want them to give up. And so I highlighted in red some of those key areas that I thought were very important for parents to understand and us as educators. When you have productive struggle, strong habits of mind, you develop almost like a muscle in your mind that I can do this. I can achieve this. I can get over this hump. I can get over this mountain because although I don't know the correct solution, I know if I keep working, I will eventually get there. And not knowing how it will be at the end is very helpful because when students make mistakes, they learn from mistakes. And I always tell people that's why pencils have erasers because we make mistakes. As adults, we make mistakes. And we have to teach our children it's okay to make mistakes as long as you did your best. And I always tell my daughter, I'm proud of you if you did your best. You may not have achieved the grade you wanted, but if you gave all your effort, you know what, Chelsea, I'm proud of you. And that's what it means to be effortful and to face problems. We don't want our children to be faced with a challenge. And then this last highlighted part, they give up. They give up. Because when you give up, you don't understand what it means to be productive. Productive doesn't mean always having the answer correct. Productive means working through the problem and eventually coming to a solution. So I found this visual. In this first picture, we don't see a struggle here. Everyone's hand is raised. The teacher probably asked a question that didn't provide much effort. They didn't have to really work through a solution. They didn't have to problem solve or do any critical thinking. It was something really on base level. So everyone's hand is in the air. I have the answer. I have the answer. But when the teacher goes into another problem where productive struggle is a part of the solution, you see here 4 children working together in a collaborative manner to solve the problem. That's critical thinking. I'm hearing you. Oh, yeah, that may work. And then they hear their next friend to come up with a solution. But this last picture here is destructive struggle. And this is where sometimes as parents, when we give all the correct answers, when we don't allow our children to struggle, when we don't tell them it's okay to make a mistake, they check out. They check out. They may shed tears. This can cause low self-esteem. It can cause them to not learn how to encourage themselves to say, I can do this. I can make this happen. I can solve the problem. So they pout and they put their heads down. And you might see them do this in a virtual setting because they haven't learned that productive struggle is okay. So we don't want them to be in the learning pit. So if you see here this young man, he says, I think I know the answer. And then he goes down the slope into the pit and he says, you know what? I don't think this is as easy as I thought. And then he's in the pit. So think of your children in the pit. And they might say, I'm confused. You can say, it's okay. Because if this is a new topic or a new term, you may be confused. But as you start to work through it and you listen and you focus and you participate in class, guess what? You then move into the next step. I need to work hard at this. I've learned with some topics I have to work hard at. In the area of math and finance, I have to work hard at it, but I don't give up. And then eventually they move to this next stage. I think I'm getting it. And then we're at success. Eureka! I understand this now. That is productive struggle. It's okay to be in the pit. It's okay to not have the answer. It's okay to not always be the person in class to solve it the correct way all the time. And that's why I tell my teachers to always create a conducive environment where children are okay with making mistakes. It's okay to struggle. And so parents, I want you today to understand that productive struggle is okay. It's okay. They're learning. They are still learning if they don't get the correct answer. So our next topic for today, class changes and group changes. We know that it's frustrating that class codes could change. But for second quarter, some teachers have created new Google Classrooms. And those Google Classrooms have new Google codes. So if you do not have your child's teacher's new Google code, please be sure to contact them on Class Tag and retrieve those new Google Classroom codes. Also, groups change based off of teacher observation and assessments. And they do the classroom changes because of differentiation. We want students working together that can support and teach each other, peer modeling, peer support. Also, teachers want to be able to provide intervention where some students might struggle in certain areas. And then teachers want to also, on the opposite end of the spectrum, provide enrichment for that child who may be at the level where they're ready to go to the next level in reading or math. And we don't want to hold anyone back with their learning. Okay, we want all of our students to receive the necessary supports they need to be successful. And that is within their small groups. So please be sure to pay attention to the teacher's schedule when they are setting up small groups, because this may change based off of your child's ability, based off of the progress they're making or the progress they are not making. And we want to make sure that all of our students are on grade level at all times. And our end goal is for them to make a year and a half or a year's worth of growth by the end of the school year. And that happens in the small group setting. So I want to talk to you about that difference. We teach in whole group, that's with all the students in the class, but then we break them down to the small groups. And that's where they get that more face-to-face, one-on-one support to fill those gaps of where the learning is missing or to take them to that next level where the enrichment takes place. So any questions about class changes or small groups at all? Any changes? Any questions? All right. So now we're going to have our typing information. So some of you request for information regarding typing programs. I love Today's Parents website. So if you're not a member on Today's Parents website, I suggest you sign up. They have so many great fun activities, free activities you can do with your child. I've been on Today's Parents since I was carrying Chelsea because I'm always looking for something fun, innovative, but free for us to do. And so they have a lot of hands-on activities, creative activities, but they have on their website 9 fun typing games for kids, and they're free. So I just wanted to show you quickly their website. I think it's done loading. Still loading a little bit. So the first game is Dance Mat Typing. So you can go here and they have the instructions on how to access Dance Mat Typing at freebbc.co.uk. You can click there. They also have Keyboard Climber. So this is recognizing letters. This would be a great typing game for younger students, mainly pre-K through first grade, kindergarten and first grade. And then they have the Typing of the Ghost, and this is for older students who are pretty good at typing, but they may you want them to get a little first. The game might be a bit scary for kids, so you might want to check it out first in case your kids aren't into, scary ghosts or things of that nature. Then they have Keyman, which is almost like Pac-Man, which is a very good game on letter navigation. And then they have Alpha Munchies, which is an inspired game by Atari Space Invaders. So remember that game we used to play, Space Invaders? You could go back and forth and shoot the little things, and you can pick the difficult level. And then this one is Type a Balloon. So when you see the letter of the balloon, You can just type it. And so to access these, you can just click on the typing games. You see how I'm hovering over it, shows the hand. I can just click it and then my children can play. They have Typing Ninja, Type Revolution, and then this one is really fun, Typing Chef. That one is a good one, and it has different levels, and you can become the master chef. And so the objective is to move to a different kitchen, and then different words will be there. And then it's best for older kids to improve their typing speed. And these are really cool typing games for your children. And it's good for them to practice their typing skills, just because when they take their online assessments in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, there will be some typing involved there. And then this is a fun way to get them involved with their computers, other than just sitting there answering questions. So I do hope that resource was helpful. I will put this in my Parent Panther page on Google, so you can find it there as well. So now we're going to have our special guest. I'm going to stop sharing, and she's going to take over. Mrs. Brown is going to share with you some writing ideas for you and your child at home.
Good morning. Thank you so much for allowing me to come and share some activities with you. And also, Ms. Campbell, I was so busy taking notes during that as well, for my own kids. So, especially about the typing, because my daughter is in 4th grade, my son is in 1st, and my daughter is a lot like me. She's a writer. She loves words. She loves description. So she had to write a story for her class and worked on it and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote. And then she came home yesterday and said she has to type it. And I was like, oh, because it's so long. So that's what she's working on right now. And I think we're going to have to try some of these typing websites to help her get a little faster with her typing. But I'm so happy to be here, and I share your feelings of being overwhelmed as a mom in this situation. I share your feelings of not getting a break, and feeling, I tease my husband all the time that I want to make the word look like a bad word, right? Because like my kids are like, Mom, look, Mom, look, Mom, look, Mom, look all day. And I'm like, I can't take it anymore, right? I just need a couple minutes to do my work. But so I just want you to know that you're not alone. And I am so glad and so thankful for Miss Campbell that she has created this weekly check-in for all of you, so that you realize that you're not alone. And you have this little support group. And when you share your needs, Miss Campbell is really good about making sure she finds resources for you. So I reached out to Miss Campbell yesterday, and she said that she would like some writing support for parents. And writing is my thing. I love it so much. So I was super happy to gather some resources for you. I'm going to put this in the chat, my slideshow, because I have hyperlinked a lot of articles and a lot of websites and a lot of resources. And I know that Ms. Campbell has a special way to share things with parents too, so she can put this there as well. But just how to support writing at home. And just so you know, I have 2 screens going, so I'm not like looking off in the distance or looking away from you. I'm just looking at my other screen. But so writing at home with your child. So keep in mind that writing is the second most accessible and beneficial learning activity that you can provide your child. And we can make it fun. So I have lots of ways in this presentation to make writing fun for your child. It takes time to build writing stamina. So keep that in mind. It starts slow. It's going to take some time to build that writing stamina. But continue to encourage your child and celebrate what they can do. Talk to your child about what they are writing, the number of minutes that they write, and what they like about writing. So keeping in mind celebrating small successes. If they write for, say, 30 seconds or 2 minutes or 5 minutes, celebrate. Share your child's progress with their teacher, and other, family members. So think about setting up maybe a pen pal. We don't get real mail anymore unless it's bills or political stuff or coupons, right? Like, my kids have been trying to write to their cousins or trying to write to neighbors and things like that, just to get like actual fun mail, and not just bills. I am going to share this little video with you. It's about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. And then the next slide is actually linking you to some writing lessons that you can do with your children at home with this woman, who is the author of the Daily Five, which is a program that we have used in the school. So just give me a few minutes here for this. Let me know if you can hear it with a thumbs up.
Hi, I'm Gail Boucher. I am a teacher and co-creator, co-author of The Daily Five, Fostering Literacy Independence in the Elementary Grades. Teachers around the world use the practices outlined in the book to successfully teach children how to be more engaged when reading and writing in school. You may know me as your child's reading buddy in the videos Reading at Home, where every day is a reading day. Children or parents are now reading for long periods of time at home, and they're building their reading stamina with tremendous success. So what's next? Writing, of course. Is your child having the same success with writing that they are with reading at home? If they are, keep it up. If not, that's where we come in. Because here's the thing, what you need to know is reading and writing are not just activities children do at school. They are the most accessible and beneficial learning activities your children can do at home to help them in all areas of learning. So this is where I come in. I'm going to help you and your child to write at home. We recorded these videos on an iPhone from our home, and I'm going to be teaching and reviewing the behaviors of writing with your child, the same behaviors they do at school. Your child and I will both write for the amount of time that the video says, and I'll also be introducing the behaviors, and then you keep the video playing. I'll be writing to myself while your children or your child writes to themselves. And at the end of the time, I'll review the behaviors, I'll talk, and we'll review the stories that we wrote. We'll talk about increasing our writing stamina, and I'll invite them to join me again in another session. You choose the amount of time you believe your child can engage in writing and tell them to write with me, their writing buddy. Now, during the time that they're writing, you will either be writing also, or you'll be working. Whatever it is, whatever you're doing, it should be quiet and focused so as not to distract them, because writing is hard work. So please feel free to share this video with others so that children and families will be able to know how to add more writing in their day at home. Are you ready to get started? Well, I am. So gather your students, gather your children, and move to the next video where it says introduce to children. I'll be there ready to introduce writing at home with your child. Let's get started.
Okay, so on the third slide here, if you click at writing on this box, it will take you to the website. Can you see that? Okay, and so you just scroll down and you see there's all these different mini lessons that you can do with your children at home. And the first couple ones are just really brief, and that's her introducing herself to you and to your children. And then they get a little bit longer as they increase their stamina, and they have different topics like what to write, how to start writing. Let's write for 5 minutes. Let's write for 10 minutes. So this is a really good resource. And also, she talked about reading at home. So if you're looking for resources for reading at home as well, you can click down here, and she does the same thing to support reading at home. So you can do both. And she's wonderful. She really, truly is wonderful. And these resources, these mini lessons will really help your kids with their writing. Next is foundations. So if you have a child in K1 or 2, they are currently working on with their teachers this foundations program, and it is new to Columbus this year. And my own kids go to Worthington, and Worthington has been using foundations for a few years now, and it is wonderful. It is a really wonderful program. And my first grader loves it. He'll come home and he'll practice his sounds, a, apple, ah, and he gets really excited. Well, his teacher sent me some resources, and so I am sharing them with you. The first one, if you click on the video, it's going to take you to all the sounds. So you can go through with your child if they're in K1 or 2, and you can practice the sounds with them. And these are exactly what their teacher uses as well, the cards. So we don't need to go through the whole alphabet, but that's where you can get the video for that. Also, I'm not sure if you have access to a printer, or if you can maybe make this document on a tablet so your child can write on it with a stylus or pen. But this is the paper that they use, and it has the skyline, the plane line, the grass line, and the worm line. And they talk about these specific lines when they're forming their letters. So you can use that. And then there's also access to the letter chart. So the same cards that they're using in the video. I don't know where my son had his, and he just kind of points to them and practices the letters and the letter sounds throughout.
Mrs. Brown,
Yes.
we sent the letter cards home. They have a foundations take home kit.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so kindergarten, first grade, they received the first grade really received the foundations take home kit.
Oh, perfect. Okay, cool. And then that has probably the paper in it too.
I'm not sure about the paper, but I know it has the foundations letter chart in there.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. All right, so different ways you can support writing at home. So these are just some tips I pulled out of this article. So if you click on ideas, it actually takes you to the article. It gives you a little bit more information, but so provide a place for your child to write. Clear off a desk, clear off a counter. It's okay for your child to write with a notebook laying on their belly, on the carpet or on the couch, wherever they're comfortable, but making sure that they have that, like the space that they want to go to do their writing. Read. The more you read, the more it supports their writing. It increases their vocabulary. It increases their just their writing with description, and they can pull out verbs, and they'll get more juicy with their words, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But encourage your child to keep a reflective journal. Or a gratitude journal. My little girl has a gratitude journal that sometimes if she kind of had a rough day, before she goes to bed, I have her write in her gratitude journal 3 things that made her smile that day or made her feel good. And that way she goes to bed feeling a little bit better, and she's not feeling sad when she goes to sleep. Provide authentic writing opportunities for your child, just like we talked about, like writing a letter. If you celebrate Christmas and you're going to send out Christmas cards, have your kids help you write the cards, getting them involved. If you are making a grocery list. Have them help you, tell them, here's a piece of paper, and then tell them what you need and have them write it down for you. Make sure you know what you're wanting for your grocery list though, because their spelling might not be 100%. So be a writing role model. So show them that you're writing. And reading too. So I had this conversation with my husband the other day about reading. My husband reads a lot. He reads a lot of articles. He, would like from the newspaper and things like that, but he reads it on his phone. And so I told him, I said, our kids think you're maybe playing Mario Kart or texting a friend because you're on your phone. I said, you need to be reading books or magazines or get the newspaper, from the store on the way home, stop and get the newspaper so you can be reading those same articles, but our kids are seeing you actually read an actual book. So my daughter is super into Harry Potter, and she just got my husband to read the first book with her. And it was such a great experience to see her dad actually reading like an actual book and not being on his phone. So that's what we're talking about when we say authentic, like you could make a list of things you need from the store on your phone, but if you're actually writing it on a piece of paper, it's more authentic for your kids to see that. Start a vocabulary notebook with like fun words they find in their reading. My little boy, he's in first grade, and we're reading this story together called The Wild Robot. And there was a word in there, I think the characters were bickering, and he thought that word was really funny. Like it sounded funny and it felt funny when he said it. So I said, that just means like they were arguing. And he wanted to write that word down because he said, sometimes me and Zoe bicker. And now he uses the word bicker because he thinks it's a funny word. So starting a vocabulary notebook, asking questions when your kids are reading at night or they're reading for school, asking them questions. Who are the characters? Where does the story take place? Questions about the genre. Is it nonfiction or fiction? And how do you know? And then help your child publish their writing. Maybe it's something they make a little tiny book and they give it to a grandparent, or they type something on the computer and they email it to a cousin. Helping them publish it and make it feel like their writing is real will be something that stays with them forever. I also included some choice boards and some writing menus. So when you click on the writing menus, this actually is for second grade, but you can really kind of finagle it to work for you. This specific example that I have here is for opinion writing. So you can kind of just go through and have your child pick one that they want to write about. And this is helpful because a lot of times when you sit down to do your writing, it's so hard. How do you get started, right? I don't know what to write about. But when you click on writing menus, it will take you to, and if you do have a printer and want to print these out, that's awesome. If not, you don't need to. You can just look at them on your computer. But they have them in color and in black and white so that you don't have to waste all your ink. But they have opinion writing. They have like narrative writing. So write about a time when you were sick. Maybe we don't want to do that because of COVID, but have you ever been scared? Do you have a brother or sister? Write about a special time with them. And then informative. This one's cool too because will get them thinking about doing some research, right? So what is your favorite sport? Write an informative piece on how to play that sport. So maybe they like football and they want to do some research on how football started or on their favorite team or their favorite players. Let's see, favorite animal, they can write about, maybe they like tigers and they want to do some research on tigers. And here we have different ways to write letters. You can write a formal letter or a friendly letter to a neighbor or to, they could even write to a favorite character in a book. Okay. And just kind of make it like a pretend letter, but they're practicing that format. And so it goes on writing about literature. There's just a whole bunch. And it says there's 20, but remember there's some are colored and some are black and white. So there's not really 20 different ones. So those are the writing boards. And then there's these, whoops, sorry about that. There's these choice boards that give you more than just writing. So bake a dessert using an online book or recipe, follow each step and measurements. Now, depending on the age of your child, you might want to really help them with that one. My daughter loves to make pancakes from scratch, and she's getting better doing it on her own, but she's a fourth grader now, so she can do that. My husband told me he was going to trick her this weekend and make her double the recipe because she's learning about fractions. And I was like, okay, you're on your own with that one. You take that one. But there's a couple, I think there's like 4 or 5 of these different menus. Practice your typing skills. See, that ties in. And you can kind of have your child choose, like, do they want to do 3 activities this week? Do they want to do 4? And don't overwhelm yourself. So like if any of this is too overwhelming in addition to what they're working on in school, maybe just stick with what Ms. Campbell shared with the typing in addition. So I don't want to overwhelm you. These are just some ideas if you're looking for something to support writing. There's a couple different articles here that I'm not going to go through them with you, but just writing is so important with that comprehension piece for reading. So tying a reading response into anything that they're reading. I know that their teachers would love to see that. And it doesn't have to be on the computer. So if they're struggling with that, paper and pencil is okay. If you want to take a picture on your phone of what they wrote and email that to their teacher, I know that they would love to see that they're practicing their writing at home. Depending on the age of your child, maybe you want to focus on, okay, they wrote 3 sentences and only 2 sentences have a capital letter. So like maybe you want to focus on that. And their spelling doesn't need to be perfect. If they are phonetically spelling and you can tell what it is based on the letter sounds, that is okay. Okay, so everything doesn't have to be perfect because that's going to turn them off to writing if you correct every little thing they do. And then I just have a couple slides with different ways you can write at home to make it fun, set up a fun learning space for them, give them something and have them like a topic and have them do a descriptive web, like here for apples. Apples taste like, they sound like, they smell like, they look like, they feel like. So you're getting the senses involved in their writing to help them. Again, that write about reading, it's going to come up a million times because it's the best connection. Here's some ideas for a daily journal. Again, it could be a gratitude journal. It could be a reflective journal. I don't know if you have sons or daughters, but my daughter and I, she was battling a little bit of anxiety during this COVID situation. And so we started a mom and me journal. And so there's a special place in our house that she puts the journal if she wrote to me and she wants me to read it, if there's something bothering her. With me being busy and my husband being busy with work, I wanted her to have a way to communicate with us if there was something really that she needed to share with us. So it could be something great that she wanted to share with us. It could be something that she's struggling with. So like a mommy and me journal. And it doesn't have to be anything, that's $1 million. It could be a little notebook from the dollar store and they're writing in it and it's something super special to them. Get stickers, let them decorate their journal, scented markers, all the things. Just make it fun for them. Again, the shopping list, the recipe, have them pretend they're the parent for the day. I'll let you do that one. um, the juicy word journal. So I just put these in here. A lot of times we hear things like, how was your day? It was good. It was good. Okay. So we hear the same things over and over again. Or if they're writing and the character said, a lot of teachers will say said is dead, and they want them to use other words. And the more you read, with your children, the more they're going to realize that a lot of authors don't use the word said. They use different words to describe how the character's speaking. So here's some descriptive words as a resource. Figurative language. I put a little example in here. My kids know the word onomatopoeia. They think it sounds funny, but if you've ever read the Froggy books, like all the different sounds like splat, plop, squash, all those are fun words. And my little first grader will be like, is that a bada Like it's like, you can't say onomatopoeia. So it's funny. But here's just a little example of some figurative language that you could pull in. And don't forget about poetry and letter writing. And then lastly, I put the link in there for the reading videos, um, if you wanted to use those with your child as well to help support their reading at home. I know there's a lot. Again, I'm not assigning anything, and I'm not making you do these things, but I know that some of you have asked how to support with writing at home. So I wanted to give you kind of a little toolbox that you can just kind of have some resources of things to do if you get in a pinch or you want to support your child. And I heard her say in the video that it could maybe give you a break. And I know that we've been talking about needing a break. So if she's teaching your child about writing, you can kind of just take a breather. Are there any questions? I know that was a lot, and I'm sorry if I overwhelmed you.
So any questions for Mrs. Brown?
Do you know where you can find the paper with the 3 different lines, the like dotted lines to help the kids? Because I was having a trouble. I've looked in a few stores now and I can't find any kind of paper like that.
Amazon
The dollar store.
and Lakeshore.
Yeah, sometimes they have it like in the dollar spot, but at Target, but that's usually in the beginning of the school year. Amazon, definitely, like that's the answer for everything, really.
And Lakeshore, you can actually, yeah, Lakeshore in Polaris area, they have it, and we have coupons to Lakeshore as well. If you ever go to Lakeshore, parents, let us know, because we get plenty of coupons here that we don't really use because we're not in session.
And it usually
so.
comes in like a little journal, I think, right, Miss Campbell? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Brown. You did a wonderful job presenting on writing topics and tips. Parents, this presentation will be in our Google Parent Panther page. So if you want to access it later, you can. And when you access it later, you will be able to click on the videos and all of that good stuff, all of those resources that she shared with us. So again, thank you, Mrs. Brown. We also have our family ambassador on the line with us. So Mrs. Lofton, if you have anything you would like to share with the parents at this time.
Hello, good morning. I really don't have too much to share, except again, we are all looking at the numbers increasing, and we just need to look out for one another and continue with the check-ins, even if it's just a hey, how you doing? All of us are in this struggle together.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much, Ms. Lofton, for your support. And so you all know, if you ever have any questions or concerns or topics you would like for me to cover, to please contact Mrs. Lofton, and she is very good about getting that information to me. Also, please remember this meeting will be on YouTube at Miss Campbell and Friends for you to access later if you weren't able to catch the beginning of the meeting. And we will be here same time, same place next Thursday at 10 a.m. And we'll have more new topics for you. Spread the word. Let parents know you should be getting on at 10 o'clock because there's some good stuff being shared on here. And also remember, productive struggle is okay. It is okay for your child to struggle. In fact, let them struggle. Let them struggle for a little while. They will learn. So thank you for all of your hard work, parents. I commend you for sticking this out, and you're doing a great job if no one else has told you. I am proud of you, and you're doing a wonderful job because this is hard work. Bye, everyone. Enjoy your day and your weekend in case you don't hear from me on the global calls. Bye.